Everyone, today we are going to begin a new series, GS2 Governance. So talking about this paper, this is a very vast paper. That means even though you're having some simple topics here, that is like an umbrella term. See, for instance, the topic heading itself, governance, it encompasses a very wide variety of topics and dimensions. So what you can do is apply some smart work here. This paper is having an overlap with GS1 society portion, then GS2 social justice, and GS4 ethics, etc. So the same topics, some same topic will be coming in all these papers. So make a crux of this topic. Take a topic and make a note of this topic, and according to the subject you have to customize it. For example, if you are writing a governance answer, you have to give it a governance type of approach. Like you can use terms like participative governance, cooperative federalism. These are governance related terms. The same topic, if the question is asked from any other paper like GS1 society, then you have to write it in a society perspective. That is the thing you can do. Okay, and most importantly, practice answer writing daily. That is coming for your last resort. Okay, now before beginning our lectures, I would like to request you something. Please have a look at all the playlists which are designed for UPSC in this channel, and these are actually part of our paid courses, but if the response is good here, we will be considering putting it here for fully free. So please subscribe and leave a feedback comment. Then for best test series, you can contact Vysh IAS. If you are looking for a good test series, then you can contact this WhatsApp number given on the screen. This is Vysh IAS. The test series designed here is of high quality, and you can do the same. Now moving on to index. So firstly, you have to have an idea of what all things you are going to learn in this paper. First topic is government policies and interventions in various sectors. By various sectors, we mean many wide range of sectors. See, we are having innumerable number of sectors, like defense is a sector, then education is a sector, health is a sector. It is impractical to cover all these sectors in detail. So what you can do is, there are some high probable topics: education, health, these topics, gender, etc. So these topics, it is if you are preparing this, it is not going to backfire you, because you will be surely getting a question in this paper or other. This is like a sure shot. So for critical sectors, you can prepare in detail. The other sectors you can prepare in a more compromising manner. And whenever you are preparing these sectors also, whatever you are learning in this paper, GS2 governance, keep it aside, and whatever is left behind, you have to learn it from other papers. Like the overlapping topics, education, health, etc. These are overlapping topics. So any one paper you cover all these things, and the other leftover things you can prepare it in other paper. That is how you have to prepare. This chapter will be covering in 2 sections. Here we will be taking some 2 sectors, and in the second class we will be taking another sectors. Next is issues arising out of implementation. So targeting issues is important. Why? Because optimum solutions always comes from proper and precise problem targeting. Okay, so critical sectors, it needs state role because it affects community as a whole. So it is important to target the issues, because we are facing new problems in this all these sectors. So to devise newer solutions, you always need to target the issues properly. Then next is NGOs. You all know the importance of NGOs. NGOs is becoming like an aiding hand of state. So India is having huge population, no? So to population, to cater to the needs of this huge population, the state role is not enough. So these NGOs, the aiding hands, becomes handy. Then next is self-help groups, trust, societies, cooperatives. These are also like part of participative governance. Then the sixth chapter, governance, dimensions, barriers and aspects. This is very important, because the things you are going to learn in this chapter, that is going to act as a backbone of your answers in governance. So you have to prepare this in detail. Then next is 7th one, e-governance. E-governance is also important, because we already know how digitalization affect the public service delivery. During COVID-19, in this era of COVID-19, we are facing difficulties due to digital deprivation. So e-governance is very important. Then civil service. Civil service is like guiding light of the state. So it is like the backdoor functioning of the state. So civil service is also important. Next, this is the episode number 1. We are dealing with government policies and interventions in various sectors. Okay, here we will be dealing with some 2 sectors, and after that we will be moving on to other sectors. Now, health sector. Health sector, why do we need government intervention in health sector? Because we are having high out of pocket expenditure. First reason is this thing. And why this becomes a reason, why this becomes a problem? Because this one is going to impact poor more, because the other non-poor people, they can resort to private sector health also. Private sector is functioning better in India in the healthcare field, but these poor people, they are not having that much. Then next is health index. This is a data kind of thing, so this is also an approach. Here I have given 2 or 3 datas. This kind of approach you can use in your answer writing. Here if you see, only half of the state and UTs have improved the overall health score from 2016 to 2018. So even after these much interventions in health, only half of the state in the second largest populated country in the world, half of the states are left behind in health sector. So that is a problem. So state has to intervene. Then there's a positive correlation between health and development. Only a healthy population will be aiding development. How can? Health is an asset. Health is a key to development. Then health is a public good, asset and driver. So this is relating to this point only. It is if the human resource of a country or a community should be having a quality, then health is a must factor. Then this Article 21. Article 21, you can use the different interpretations of Article 21 in many answers. It is right to life and right to life and personal liberty. It has been interpreted in various manners by Supreme Court. Here, right to health is also an interpretation of Article 21. Since we are dealing with governance paper, you can quote articles also. So this becomes important. Then according to WHO data, this trans fat, why it is coming? Due to new lifestyle. Trans fat, it is contributing to diseases like cancer, obesity, even in children. So these are called as lifestyle diseases. So WHO talks that 5.4 lakh deaths are globally due to industrially produced trans fat. So this is also important. So to curb these factors, you need government intervention. Next is, you have to we are going to look at the motive of government intervention in a different perspective, like not only governance, not only to the public welfare, not only in the angle of public welfare, also in the angle of economic and revenue generation also, this health sector becomes important. Why? Because in India there is a strong demand for this healthcare sector. It is like an emerging market. Okay, so this is one factor. Next is, there are attractive opportunities. Vaccine development is there. Then India is an emerging country in healthcare, so this also becomes important. There is a market to invest in India. Then rising manpower. See, we are having many number of medical professionals and all, but there is unemployment in the country. There is not much space to absorb this workforce and medical health professionals. So what happens? Brain drain happens. So if you are able to control this brain drain, we can use it to the advantage of India and boost India's economy. Then policy and government support. In budget 2021, this much crore, 35,000 crore is allotted. So there is also government support. So now here I have given some statistics. This malnutrition related to health, there are many determinants like unemployment, poverty, hunger. These are all the determinants. You can read it. Then this is a graph. So if you are giving graphs and sources from reliable government sources, if you are taking this kind of graphs and data, that is also going to boost your marks. Okay, so in financial year 21, we are having only 1.8% of GDP upon healthcare, and that is a very meager percentage. Okay, so this is a problem. Then the first dimension, we are dealing with health now. Health sector is the first sector we are going to take. So how can you deal with health? Here I am taking an approach of, you are looking at the various dimensions of health. This is one approach. This is the first sector we are taking, and this is one approach. Like we can take some 4 dimensions. Mental well-being, pollution is a dimension of health, infrastructure is a dimension of health, nutrition. So here you are covering these much topics also, and in addition if you are getting a question on health, you are looking into these much aspects. So here you are doing a smart work. Okay, you are preparing these topics, and in addition you are getting quality answer. Now why nutrition sector? One by one we can take the sectors. Why nutrition sector becomes important? Okay, so instead of giving this simple definitions, in the introduction part you can use this economic survey data or some report data. If you are giving like that, your introduction is going to look very attractive. So here economic survey 2019-20 has given a definition for food. Food is not just an end in itself, but also an essential ingredient in the growth of human capital and therefore in wealth creation. So this definition, in this definition itself, the need of intervention is underlined. Why? Because it is not an end, it helps in wealth creation. So here itself you are getting 2 points. Then malnutrition. Malnutrition, it deals with calorific deficiency. Calorific deficiency means the calorie intake is less than the required intake. Then protein hunger is there. Then you can relate it to hidden hunger. Then micronutrient deficiency is there, which is leading to anemia, etc. Vitamins, minerals, etc. are deficient in food. Then comes global nutrition report. Global nutrition report says that India is among the worst countries with Nigeria and Indonesia, which exhibits sharp disparities in stunting. So stunting and wasting, it is very prevalent in India. So this is a sad fact. So there is an urgent call for government intervention in this sector. Then India is to miss all the targets, nutrition target by 2025. That is, they are having some target in this global nutrition report. It is stated there are some target which is to be achieved by 2025. In India's case, it is going to miss all the nutrition target, that is under 5 stunting, anemia among reproductive aged women, then childhood overweight, exclusive breastfeeding. All these targets India is going to miss. So that is also so due to these reasons we need government interventions. Now let's move on to interventions in nutrition enhancement. What the state has done so far in enhancing this sector. Okay, first is this fortified rice scheme. See, here I'll be giving an approach, because how you can link, you are learning about interventions, no? This fortified rice scheme in a governance paper, if you are writing in an environment manner, like in fortified rice you are having these much nutrients, vitamin A, vitamin B, that is not going to be a governance answer, because it is not having any element of governance. So any scheme or any intervention, you have to convert it to governance. Here how can you convert this fortified rice scheme? It is a citizen centric governance, because this rice it is culturally acceptable food. So it is a socio culturally acceptable means. You are giving, the state is giving nutrition, and also it is at the same time taking care of citizen centric governance. Then the supply chain corrections is done. So we are moving on to the preventive care. When the supply chain corrections are done, we are having less burden of diseases. If you are taking good food, then the disease burden will be less. So state has to spend less on health. That is the idea. So like this, you have to link in a governance type of perspective. Here PDS is also included. Okay. And this scheme is proven and cost effective also. That is also an added point. It becomes important with respect to India. Next scheme is this One Nation, One Ration Card scheme. It is also citizen centric scheme, and this migrant sectors, they are like an invisible vulnerable sections, and for this they are being considered particularly in this scheme. Then PDS, it is age old traditional scheme. Here you can use a term, this is systems approach. Systems approach, what do you mean by systems approach in governance? See, take a human body as a system. Human body needs all the systems to function. Heart is to function, lungs is to function, kidney is to function. Only then overall health of the human body is ensured. Like this, in a state, many factors, many organs of the state has to function in a coordinated and organized manner to give the desired output. So in PDS system, systems approach, how it is followed? Central government is there on the top. It is taking the initiative to supply food grains to FCI. Then it goes to state governments. Then it goes to fair price shops. Like this, we are targeting the population. Then not only supply chain corrections need to be done, the supply chain safety also has to be ensured by the state, because safety is becoming a major factor in this world, because we are concerned, we are moving on to this pesticides and the toxic kind of food things. Okay, so food safety regulation becomes important. Here you can call this Eat Right India campaign. Then we are moving on to diversification of supply chain also, because we are also concerned about this organic foods now. People are moving on to this organic foods due to concerns of safety. So there is diversification of supply chains that offers a right to choice. See, this is how you have to develop a scheme according to the question and according to the paper. Okay, then Parambaragat Krishi Vikas Yojana, again organic farming, zero budget natural farming. Again, it is an economical method and is a sustainable, eco-friendly method. Then this trans fat control measures. FSSAI is planning to control the trans fat to 2% by 2022. This trans fat is the major reason for cardiovascular diseases in India. So if you are controlling this, obviously this is going to get reduced. Then what you can do is, these much schemes, some schemes I have given: Ma Canteen, then voluntary guidelines on food systems and nutrition, framework for water quality testing, then National Food Security Act, summer campaign. For these all things, what you can do is, you can try writing, giving it a governance approach. You first study the scheme, what is the scheme is all about, and try to write it in a governance type of perspective, so that it is going to help in your answer. Whenever you can quote these all things as a success model also, whenever you are giving some examples or something. Then this National Horticulture Mission, Millet Mission, it is like enhancing the nutritional security. It is affordable to the major chunk of population. Agriculturally also it is easily available, because it don't require the highly fertile land and all. It doesn't require that much rainfall, so it is climatically also adapted to India. So this becomes important. Nutri-cereals are very important for nutrition also. Then Poshan Abhiyan, it is taking a decentralized approach in healthcare. Then Bharatiya Poshan Krishi Kosh, it is about establishing a link between agriculture and nutrition. What all things can be done in agriculture to enhance the nutrition. Then here another example would be, you can quote some success model. This is an example of this R&D, research and development in, what is the need of research and development in nutrition. Here this is a rice variety, Muktoshri rice. It is a rice variety from West Bengal, developed, which is being developed in West Bengal, and it is arsenic resistant. See, arsenic contamination is becoming a major concern of health in India, especially in this eastern parts of India. It is having a very worse effect. So to counter this, we have to invest in R&D. It is so we have developed this Muktoshri rice. Like this, there are many other success models also. You can try incorporating it here. Then this is one of the neglected areas of health, mental health. By health, we rarely speak about mental health. So what is the definition? WHO clearly defines mental health. It is a state of well-being in which every individual realizes own potential, and he or she is able to cope with the normal stresses of life, work productively and fruitfully, and he can contribute to one's community. This is all about mental health. Then why India has to look upon its mental health sector? Because there are 150 million people suffering from mental health problems. Okay, this is a recorded data. There are many hidden cases also. These are also to be taken into concern. Okay, then the main problem with the mental health sector is, there is inadequate workforce and financial allocation also. It is neglected. It is recently only it has started gaining some attention. Then another problem is social exclusion and exploitation. The sexual abuse often happens with the case of these mental health people, mentally disabled people. They are being constantly cheated and exploited also. Okay. Next is interventions in mental health. These are some interventions. This is Mando Dirpan initiative. What is this? It is introduced during the COVID period, and it is offering psychological support to teachers, students, family, etc. So it is in a way increasing the human productivity. Then there is this behavior change model. See, in COVID we have to tackle dual fears. It is life and livelihood, both are in risk. So there has to be a behavior change model which has to be initiated by state for ensuring its citizens for tackling this pandemic. Okay. Next is you can try including the schemes related to mental health, particularly in case of women and children. This is Samvad scheme and it is for children. Samvad scheme, it is related with abandoned children. It is offering mental psychological support for abandoned children, then trafficking victims, etc. Then here I have given some example of an answer writing approach of this is just an approach. You can try replicating it in other topics also. Here I have given a timeline approach like relating to mental health. This is National Mental Health Program in 1982. It is relating to treatment and rehabilitation. Then in 1996 we are having district mental health program. It is like going one step ahead. So this is, here we have targeted this, then better targeting, then this scheme, then again we have targeted more issues, then we are coming to this scheme. So this district mental health program, it deals with community services. So see this going down, it is like moving on to the grassroots level public service delivery. Okay. Then 1987 we are having Mental Health Act. Then 2017 government repealed this Mental Health Act and it introduced the Mental Health Care Act. So this in a way it is encompassing wider dimensions of mental health. It is like recognizing the dignity of mentally disabled person. It actually decriminalized the suicide attempts. Then right to make advance directive. This advance directive means patient is having the right and patient is having the right to know about the medicines he or she is taking, and it is about ensuring the transparency. Then nominal representative. The mentally disabled people are given a chance to have their own nominal representatives, and there is a decentralization seen here. Decentralization in administration, decentralization, that is there will be a central authority and many state authorities dealing with mental health issues. So this also result in the grassroots level public service delivery in terms of mental health. Then what all things can be done more? Because this is not enough in the case of India. So what all things can be done more? This is like we have to plug the root cause. If we are able to plug the root cause, that starts from children. If children are made aware of the mental health issues, then they when they become adult, they will be aware more. So this is like a spillover effect. The generations, upcoming generations also will be getting more awareness of this mental health, importance of mental health. Okay. Now next role of media, next is the role of media. You already know some YouTube channels there are some progressive channels in YouTube. So due to these progressive channels, many people are thinking differently, many are relieving out of the patriarchal thinking kind of thing. Many are embracing universal values like equality, fraternity and dignity, etc. So media role is very important. It enhances the education and awareness also. It is easily available also, easier access, like you don't have to pay any fees to get this awareness and all. In YouTube it is easily available. So you can also even get online medical help. There are many YouTube channels which is dedicated to mental health problems in local languages also. You can even approach them also. So there is this huge reach of media that becomes important. Then strengthening infrastructure, that is another thing. See, in developed countries they are spending 3 to 15% of GDP upon health, but in India it is very meager. As you have seen in earlier slide, it is somewhere below 2% only we are spending on health. Within this, mental health is even more neglected. Then next thing is targeting the sectional disparities. How we can target? See, there is a classic example would be, there is a difference between sadness and depression. Often people will be telling, I am depressed, but depression, it is a medical state. It is like a medical state which requires treatment, whereas sadness is the state of mind. That much low is our awareness on mental health. So why depression is high in females, that we have to target only, then we can devise solutions. Then why suicide rates are high in males, that we have to target. Then South India is suffering more than North India. Why is it so? So like this we have to look upon the sectional disparities also and give adequate solutions to each thing. Okay, then next sector is pollution. Why pollution problems need attention? Why? Because government is having this strategy of social determinants of health. This term is important and you can use this in your answers. Why? What are the social determinants of health? Health is impacted by nutrition, then drinking water, indoor air pollution, sanitation, road access even impacts the health, then gender, etc. So to enhance all these things, pollution, this pollution, sanitation, indoor air pollution, then water, all this is directly pointing to pollution. So if we are fixing this issue, then all these issues will be resolved. Then second point is this climate justice to poor. Often this polluted areas, this will be inhabited by this slums or very disadvantaged sections and vulnerable sections. Okay, so this is like a climate injustice to poor. They also have the right to live with dignity, so we have to target them. Okay, next is this marine food chain. No, India is a country having high marine food consumption. So if ocean pollution is increasing like anything, then it is going to affect the marine food chain and eventually it biomagnifies when comes to human body. That is also a problem. So what the state must take is coherent policy. See, this is why we need government intervention. How it is linking? Due to pollution, health is impacted. That is how we have to link. So this is like correcting the supply side faults and this requires government intervention. Now what are the interventions taken so far in pollution? So there is this Commission for Air Quality Management. This is dealing with institutional reforms. This is a term which you can use. Institutional reforms. This is not simply changing the name of a institution. It is like revamping an institution for dealing with new problems. Okay, so this is concerned with NCR and it is enforcing stricter norms. Why you need stricter norms? Because Delhi is one of the most polluted cities in world. So you need better and stricter laws. So for the first time, this commission is dealing with stubble burning. Stubble burning regulation is being put in India for the first time. Then next is a value addition point. This is like an example. That is why I put this point. Plastic parks. How you can link this to health? Actually, this is not directly linking with health, but you can link this with health. Why? Because this plastic parks, it is aiding waste management, urban sustainability, water pollution. So by these three things, you are indirectly ensuring urban health also. Okay, so you can use this. Then this RACE initiative. This is also cleaner, greener office space. So it is ensuring this indoor air quality. We are while talking about pollution, we are always concerned with outside air pollution or outside water pollution, but indoor air quality is also equally important. That is often neglected. So this initiative is for that, for office space, because many people, they will be spending most of their time in offices only. Then there is this flowchart kind of things also you can use, like what are the interventions in health, how can the state take interventions in health. Firstly, you have to establish some goals, then determine emission reductions, then develop control strategies, then you have to implement those programs, then undertake ongoing evaluation. This is like air quality or air pollution is being given a governance type of approach. The next issue is ammonia water pollution. Why this is important? Because in Yamuna river, the ammonia levels has increased like anything, and it is according to BIS standards, it is only 1 ppm allowed, but it has surpassed these levels. This ammonia, it is going to damage the internal organs also. So this has to be targeted. Water, it makes up 70% of your body. So if you are not getting good and safe drinking water and for other things, then it is going to impact health very soon. Then this database based model, India Water Resources Information System. This is dealing with judicious use of scarce and essential resources. Okay, so water, as you know, the freshwater resources are declining like anything. So what we can do is we have to enhance the supply and we have to use this very judiciously. For this, you require some database. By database, there is a systematic systematic management of every sector, because having a database, it is like a pre-arranged things. You can devise solutions by looking at this database, and those solutions will be systematic also. Then next problem is this arsenic contamination in food chain. This is more prevalent in East and Northeast India. This I have told earlier, no? Muktoshri, that rice is, that variety of rice, it is developed for combating arsenic contamination. Then arsenic contaminated water will be causing arsenic causes skin lesions, cancer, diabetes, etc. Then this grand ICT challenge, this is also dealing with pollution. So the next sector of health is infrastructure sector. This is the next dimension of health. Why this sector needs attention? Because we are having a poor primary care network in health. It is like unequipped is our primary healthcare sector, and it is of low quality also. Then the other point, high out of pocket expenditure, and it is one of the, it is one of the highest. It is India is having 62% out of pocket expenditure. Then we are having this less focus on preventive care. We are always concerned with post disease care, but preventive care is going to be more beneficial, that we have to look upon. Then there is this centralization tendency and inefficient targeting. See, India is a diverse country and many areas will be having many types of health problems. So centralization is not going to work in the case of India. So what we have to have is, there will be a decentralized approach is needed. So the specific problems can be targeted and efficient public service delivery of health can be. Then this is public health spending. This is an important point, because while the global average spending on health stands at 5.4% of GDP, India is still targeting to become 2.5%. So that much low is the public expenditure on health. India has to improve at least to 2.5% to gain fruitful benefits. Then it is a revenue and employment generator also. India is having a competitive edge in cost also. See, operations in India and medical services in India, it is offered at low cost than other countries like Western US or some other countries. So it is having a competitive edge also. It is having a lot of employment potential also. What India can do is reap that benefits. Then since this is a governance paper, you can quote these articles which are related to health in this answer. That is the article 39, 41, 42, 47 and even 21. 21 you can use it anywhere because it is having many interpretations. Next is this less R&D. Research and development is poor, very poor in medical sector. Then this what the consequences of this less R&D is that it results in a technology lag in coping with the new challenges. This we have seen during the time of COVID. During the time of COVID, we were struck in a situation of what to do. So if we had that foresight, then we would not have suffered that much. Okay, so technology is very important, R&D. Then next comes this interventions in infrastructure and facilities. What all interventions has been taken so far. So how you can use this Arogya Path. This is a scheme. So this is like an integrated approach. This is a keyword concerning with governance. So it offers the single point delivery, critical healthcare supplies. The supplies are being delivered at a single point. So this is like ease of customers, and it is systematic also. It is based on demand and supply. In this way we are decreasing the wastage also. Okay, and needy will be getting the needed devices also. Then Ayush portals. Why Ayush portal? It is like a right to choice in healthcare. See, this English medicine penetration, it is increasing in India. Okay, and the demand of this English medicine or this sector has resulted in a condition that the medical sector has become so much corrupt, and it is like with the unethical. It is moving to unethical means. So how we can tackle? We have to decrease the demand and we have to offer safe alternatives. India is having a cultural heritage of Ayurveda and other medical systems. So you have to explore it. In this way you can offer the right to choice, and in this way we can ensure competition between different areas of health. Okay. Then COVID related things, you can use COVID related, COVID Suraksha, COVID Center for Excellence, etc. This is like an insurance scheme. So this is also interventions. Next is you can try learning these things: new health insurance, EICU, online pharmacy. These are simple things. You can use it as examples whenever you're getting a question. Then see, this is a flow chart how you can write. This kind of flowcharts is going to boost your answer. See, in a mains answer sheet, your paper will be having two borders. This is the space you are allotted to write the answer. In this answer, if you are writing essays, that is not going to a smart work. So what you can do is include some flowcharts, innovative flowcharts, so that the examiner feels it easy to look and your answer will be having many content also. So here look at this flowchart: higher mortality rate, impaired mental development, then adult chronic disease. This is again linked with child stunting. If a child is stunted, then as adolescent stunting it comes, then it result in women malnourishment. Again fetus will be suffering. Then this is going into a vicious cycle. Like this you can include innovative flowcharts. Next is this other institutional reforms are infrastructure reforms. National Medical Commission, it is a new body. It is like upgrading institutional mechanism. See, this body is formed by dissolving Medical Council of India. Medical Council of India was not able to, it is not up to the mark in dealing with the corruption and quality education quality education. See, health sector we can't take any risk, because only if there is quality education, then only we can produce quality professionals. That can only reduce the health burden. So we have to target the problem. For this, National Medical Commission is being set. Next is this bulk drug parks. Okay, so this is, you can link it with Atmanirbhar Bharat. India, it is the third largest pharmaceutical industry, but still it is dependent on heavy raw materials for its pharmaceutical industry from China and all. So depending upon China, it is not giving to ensure, it is not going to ensure any health security for India, because during this time, this COVID time, we have known about this vaccine diplomacy. Okay, so it is unethical, but it is happening in the world. So to be self-sufficient in healthcare, we have to develop these types of bulk drug parks. Then it is also helping in reducing the manufacturing cost, so we can ensure affordability of the medicines for a major chunk of population in India which are poverty stricken. Then National Digital Health Mission. This is also, in a way, whenever we are digitalizing the records, it actually removes or it dilutes the opaqueness. It ensures the transparency. Okay, so this is also in line with Patients' Rights Charter, patients' rights. Then it enhances the systematic healthcare delivery. It has the health ID, then it has personal records, right to privacy, DigiDoctor. All these things are being ensured in a systematic manner. Okay, then Ayushman Bharat, it is one of the best success schemes in India, and it is offering integrated healthcare like secondary care, tertiary care, post care, pre-care, all insurance also. So it is like an integrated healthcare approach. Then this Vision 2035. See, this is about public health surveillance. It is by Niti Aayog. Why do we need surveillance? Surveillance ensures the proper functioning. Only if there is a surveillance, then only the systems will be functioning at par with the expected standards. So this envisages the prevention of NCD also. NCDs are increasing in India, so it offers to prevent the NCDs, and it is about data sharing. Then it is integrated healthcare. Also it offers private sector participation. See, triple P participation is very important in governance, because India is a developing country, so it definitely needs the participation of private sector. Next is education sector. So till now we have completed the health sector. Now moving on to education sector. Here we will be following, the health sector we have followed the dimension approach. In education sector we can learn it in a new approach. Here I will be using a timeline like approach. So after practicing a lot number of questions, you will get what approach will be matching this question. Here health sector, that approach was good. Education timeline approach will be good. That comes with practice. So firstly, why government intervention is needed? Because it is embracing the role of a government as an enabler of development. See, government can't go to each section of population and develop. Government can act as a facilitator. So if education is offered, it is going to offer a wider range of socio-economic mobility. in terms of financial stability, in terms of cultural stability. If education is given, all these things are going to be solved automatically. Then another important factor with respect to education is if there are conscious citizens, then there will be transparent governance. See, anything if it is not, as I've said earlier, if there is no surveillance, there will be no pressure to work in an efficient manner. A country or a community with conscious citizens, it will be functioning in a better way. This is like a shadow cabinet, the concept of shadow cabinet of UK. This is like offering a checks and balance on the system. So it ensures healthy democracy. Then next point is annual status of education report for rural India. Here in rural India, this report says that only 1/3 of the population is having access to online learning. So this is also a problem, the poor network coverage. Okay. Next is this quality deficit in education. See, this phrase you can use, oceans of mediocrity and islands of excellence. This means that although we are having many institutions and many educational institutions, the quality education is offered only in a few educational institutions. That is this thing. So this also result in brain drain. Next is interventions in education. Here we are going to follow the timeline approach. So you can follow from any timeline which are favorable according to the question. If it is a 10 marker, you can quote the recent timeline. Like you can give a short introduction of the initial time period like at 1830s, and after that you can move on to detailing of the recent approaches. But if it is a 15 marker, you have to write accordingly. Here I am starting with 1830s. Macaulay minutes. It actually introduced the English language and modern subjects like science and maths, which was until then not familiar to Indian society. Until then there was this Gurukula system and traditional learning of Vedas and all. So here it was a different approach. Then after that various committees have come, Woods Dispatch Committee, Zakir Hussain Committee, etc. After this 1948, it is like starting from post-independence, no? So Radhakrishnan Committee, here we find a new approach. In this Macaulay minutes, the education was designed in a way favorable to British. So in Radhakrishnan Committee, the shift in policy came. British aspirations to Indian needs. What are the Indian needs? Accordingly, we are designing the education sector. Okay, so here this one you can quote Radhakrishnan Committee quotes the pillars of education: wisdom, knowledge, social order, values of life, leadership. These leadership and all, it was not there in the Macaulay minutes or earlier education. Okay. Next is this National Education Policy 2020. It is a recent thing. You can have a look. You can all of you will be having notes on this topic. So you can have a look. Foundational literacy, then dropout rate. It is also concerned with teacher quality, then recruitment and deployment. It is like a systematic method. Then next is, that one is the latest, and moving on to our timeline approach. After this Radhakrishnan Committee comes the Kothari Commission. It recommended spending 6% of GDP on education. Then it promoted the 3-language formula, wherein English was until then English was the only language. So it offered a cultural barrier for the non-English speaking population. So there must not be any cultural barriers, and Hindi, all those languages, this 3-language formula, English, Hindi and any local languages. Then free and compulsory education up to 14 years. Then work experience was embraced. Social service, it is also added as an integral part of education. These are all things of Kothari Commission, and the recommendations of Kothari Commission was incorporated in 1968 National Education Policy. It is like a whole restructuring of education framework, and it also focused on teacher training. Okay, so and cultural barriers like this 3-language formula. The non-English speaking will be also getting access to education. Then 1986 another education policy came, and it was dealing with this Operation Blackboard. It deals with this primary education. Then the establishment of IGNOU, Indira Gandhi National Open Universities, and rural university model. Then after that this right to education as a fundamental right, which was in 2009, and it was giving a legal backing to Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. It deals with Article 21A. Then the latest thing, national education policy. Now the suggestions. In suggestions you can also use this report data or something like that. While you are giving suggestions, be sure that you don't criticize government as such. You have to take not a neutral stand, you have to present things mildly, in a mild manner. Okay, so in suggestions, what all things you can do? SDG India index, it quotes that India is having 40% food wastage. So what is the suggestion? You can focus on minimizing this food wastage. In a country which is having high poverty levels and food insecurity, this much of food wastage is a big problem. Then food and nutrition security report. Here it is telling 1 in 3 under 5 Indian children, that is 1 in 3 children of under 5 age group, they will be stunted by 2022. Then this unified district information system for education survey, it is telling that 90,000 of elementary and secondary schools, these are running with a single teacher. Okay, so these are like data. You can give this data and you can give the suggestions. So in this way you are substantiating your answer. Then government to increase the public healthcare spending from this 1.15 is the current and 2.5 is the target fixed by government. Okay. Now you can use the graphs also, like this graphs, but whenever you are picking up a data, be sure that you are sourcing out your data from reliable sources. Here it is showing the increase in the non-communicable disease and decrease in the communicable disease. So this is also a policy kind of approach. Whenever you can't independently target a sector, when you are focusing on one sector, the betterment of one sector, the other sector, it will be getting degraded. So you have to follow a interlinked approach. Okay. Then this is another model of a flowchart. Here here what kind of interventions can be taken by government. This is like a whole overall diagram. The keywords and this model you can use in governance type answers. So age, gender, personal norms, education, these are relating to the individual. This is the space of individual. Beyond this space, there needs a government intervention. So this is the importance of government intervention. There is socio-cultural factors, social and cultural norms. This you can't control personally. Social support, this is also not going to be enhanced by a person's effort. So these all things requires a coordinated effort, okay, to relieve from these problems. Then this community environment, agriculture, industry, market, government, global. So in all these spheres you require some governmental intervention. That is why government intervention is important. Then we are talking about a practice question. What you can do is, with the available data, with the lecture, you can try attempting this question and you can take time while writing the mains answer. If you are beginners, firstly when you are starting, you invest some time. You can take even 1 hour or 2 hours, and you have to develop the answer writing skill and you have to know the structure of answer writing. After that, progressively you can reduce the time, and when the real exam approaches, you have to write it in 10 or 8 minutes. So to reduce this 1 hour to reach this 1 hour time to 10 or 8 minutes, it requires practice. So daily you practice at least 2 or 3 questions. So you can attempt this question, and what I can do is in the next class I can give a template answer for this. Okay, you can also refer the topper's answer sheet, so that you will be getting a clarity on how the UPSC standards are set. So the practice question is effectiveness of government system at various levels and people's participation in governance system are interdependent. Discuss their relationship in the context of India. This is 2016 mains question. So you can write this. Thank you.